Namaste, welcome to lesson 3, design of helical gears under module 3, design of machine elements 2. Here we have a comprehensive design procedure. Helical gears differ from spur gears in that they have teeth that are cut in the form of helix on their pitch cylinders instead of parallel to the axis of the rotation. Helical gears may be used to connect either parallel or non-parallel or non-intersecting shafts. Helical gears are used to transmit heavy power at high speeds with low noise. Design goal. The design of helical gears involves the selection of proper material and arriving at the required size of the gear pair for transmitting the specified power. So here only involute tooth profile is considered, that is 14.5 degree full depth involute, 20 degree full depth involute and 20 degree stub tooth involute. Note, the design of helical gears seems to be easy for those who know the design of spur gears because helical gear is a form of spur gear. Design considerations: beam strength Ft, effective load or effective force F effective, dynamic strength Fs, dynamic load Fd, the limiting load for wear or wear load Fw. For safe design, induced stress must be less than the allowable stress, dynamic strength must be greater than effective load and dynamic load must be less than wear load. To satisfy the above, we need to select proper material and appropriate number of teeth on pinion and gear, and we need to obtain suitable module, face width, which leads to pitch diameters, because pitch diameters is equal to Z into M, that is number of teeth multiplied by module, and we need to provide proper surface treatment. Design procedure. We have used Design Data Handbook authored by Professor K. Mahadevan and Professor K. Balavira Reddy, the 4th edition. So as usual, let us have suffix 1 for pinion and suffix 2 for the gear. As we know that smaller of the gear pair is called pinion. This is smaller one. So usual data available: power P, speed N and velocity ratio I. That velocity ratio I is nothing but N1 by N2, that's equal to Z2 by Z1, that's equal to D2 by D1. N stands for speed in RPM, Z stands for number of teeth, D stands for pitch diameter or pitch circle diameter. Essential data: material of the gear pair. If not given, select suitable material from table 12.22, page 241 or 12.7, page 234. Pressure angle and tooth form should be given. Class of gear, namely class 1, class 2 and class 3, which is useful for finding out the error. And service condition for CS, that is a service factor, and the nature of lubrication is required for to obtain wear and lubrication factor CW. Service condition, that service factor is CS, CW is wear and lubrication factor. So from nature of lubrication we can obtain CW. And minimum number of teeth on pinion Z1. So if not given, assume a minimum number of teeth referring to table 12.4b, page 230. Note, if the center distance A or pitch diameter D pitch line velocity V is given. You are not supposed to assume minimum number of teeth. The pitch diameter may be diameter of the gear or diameter of the pinion. Step 1. Identify the weaker member, because design must be based on the weaker member. Note, if both pinion and gear are made of same material, pinion is the weaker member. So hence the design must be based on the pinion. If pinion and gear are made of different materials, the member with minimum value of the product sigma d and y is the weaker member, where sigma d is the allowable static stress. Table 12.7, page 234, or table 12.22, page 241, exclusively for helical gears, this table 12.22. We can have values, allowable static stress values from these two tables based on the materials. In the examination, if only ultimate strength of the material is given, so allowable static stress can be obtained by dividing ultimate strength by 3. That is, allowable static stress is equal to 1/3 of the ultimate strength. And y is the Lewis form factor, equation 12.5, CDE, page number 204. So here we have y is equal to 0.124 minus 0.684 by z for 14.5 degree involute system, and 0.154 minus 0.912 by z for 20 degree involute system, 0.175 minus 0.95 by z for 20 degree stub tooth system. This is actually for spur gears. So here, in the case of helical gears, so instead of using Z, so one should use ZD, that is equivalent number of teeth or virtual number of teeth. It is also called formative number of teeth. ZD is equal to Z divided by cos cube beta. So in place of Z, we need to use ZE, that is Z divided by cos cube beta. So in order to select minimum number of teeth, in order to avoid interference, we need to refer to table 12.4b here. For 14.5 degree full depth involute system, minimum number of teeth is 32, and 20 degree full depth involute system, minimum number of teeth is 18, and 20 degree stub tooth involute system, the minimum number of teeth is 14. To obtain allowable static stress, you can refer to this table or table 12.22, which is given here. Allowable static stress for helical and herringbone gears. So already in the introduction, I mentioned that herringbone gear is nothing but a double helical gear with no central groove. So for cast iron, ordinary cast iron, allowable static stress is 28 Newton per millimeter squared or meganewton per meter squared. Better grade cast iron, it is 30 Newton per millimeter squared. And high carbon or alloy steel, so heat treated, it is 105 Newton per millimeter squared. So if sigma d1 y1 is less than sigma d2 y2, pinion is weaker, so the design must be based on the pinion. If sigma d2 y2 is less than sigma d1 y1, gear is weaker, so the design must be based on the gear. Step 2. Calculate normal module Mn. So here normal module we need to calculate. Normal module Mn is equal to m cos beta, that is equal to d by z cos beta, where d is the pitch diameter. So by using equation 12.24b, which are given in page number 214, so we need to find out Mn. So it's actually a modified equation. So in the data handbook, so equation 12.24b reads, so Mn is equal to 2 into mt Cw into cos beta divided by sigma d Cv k into y into z whole to the power of 1 by 3 is there. I have modified this one. This Mn cube is equal to 2 mt Cw cos beta by sigma d Cv k into y into z. Already you are familiar with these. Mt is nothing but torque. Cw is wear and lubrication factor. This is actually the first time we are learning. Beta is the helix angle. Sigma d is the allowable static stress. C is the velocity factor. K is the ratio of phase width to the module. Here in this case it is normal module. Capital Y is equal to pi into small y. So where small y is the Lewis form factor and Z is the number of teeth. So once again, torque Mt is equal to, that's also denoted by T, capital T, that's equal to 9.55 into 10 to the power of 6 into P, that is power, divided by speed N into CS. CS is the service factor. So this gives us the torque unit in Newton millimeter. P is power in kilowatt, speed in RPM, CS is service factor. Beta is the helix angle. So here you can see the beta helix angle. Cw is the wear and lubrication factor from table 12.21 page 241. You will see that table afterwards. Cv is the velocity factor 12.25A2E page number 214. And K, as I mentioned, that it is the ratio of phase width to the normal module. So K varies from 10 to 20. So we can use K as 10. So similar to our spur gears. B, as I mentioned, B is phase width, capital Y is pi into Y, and Z is d by m. So V is pitch line velocity, that's equal to pi dn by 60,000 meter per second. So d is in mm and n in rpm. After substituting the known values, so we'll end up with the Mn cube into Cv, that's equal to some value. So we need to assume a suitable value for Mn until you attain LHS is greater than or equal to RHS. If the center distance A, that A is nothing but d1 plus d2 divided by 2, or pitch diameter or pitch line velocity V is known. So you will get Mn directly by substituting all other known values in the equation 12.24b shown above in this equation. So we need to select standard module from table 12.2 page 229. So after obtaining certain value, you need to select the nearest higher value from the table. Here Cw, that is wear and lubrication factor Cw, So based on the nature of lubrication, for enclosed gears continuously lubricated with oil of the proper viscosity and character, CW is 1.15. For scant lubrication but regular with a frequent inspection, so CW can be taken as 1.25. For indifferent lubrication, CW is a 1.35. So velocity factor CV for helical gears. For low angle helical gears with V is less than 5 meter per second, velocity factor CV is equal to 4.58 by 4.58 plus V. For all helical and herringbone gears is nothing but a double helical gears. Herringbone gears are nothing but double helical gears. When V is 5 to 10 meter per second, that is CV is equal to 6.1 by 6.1 plus V. For gears when V is 10 to 20 meter per second, that is Barr's formula, CV is equal to 15.25 divided by 15.25 plus V. For precision gears with velocity greater than 20 meter per second, CV is equal to 5.55 divided by 5.55 plus square root of V. For non-metallic gears, CV is equal to 0.7625 divided by 1.0167 plus V plus 0.25. And service factor table CS you are familiar with. For steady loads, 8 to 10 hours per day if it is working, CS is 1, and if it is continuous 24 per hour day, it is 1.25. If it is intermittent or 3 hours per day, it is 0.80. So if it is subjected to heavy shocks and intermittent or 3 hours per day working, 1.5 is the service factor. 8 to 10 hours per day, it is 1.8, and 24 hours per day is this 2. And here 12.2 recommended series of module MN. So we are going to select MN. See here, the modules given in the above table apply to spur and helical gears. In case of helical gears and double helical gears, the modules represent normal modules. Modules within brackets are of second preferences. It's better to go with the first preference. Step 3. Check for the stress. Calculate the induced stress. Sigma induced is equal to Ft into Cw divided by small b capital Y into Mn. So here in this equation we have modified for sigma induced. Actually it is sigma d and Cv is there. So we have removed that sigma d and Cv. We have taken this sigma induced. So next we need to calculate the allowable stress. Sigma allowable is equal to sigma d into Cv. So next we need to compare sigma induced and sigma allowable. If sigma induced is less than sigma allowable, then the design is satisfactory. The other way of checking the stresses is to calculate the effective load or effective force, that is F effective is equal to Ft by Cv, where Ft is sigma d Cv b y Mn by Cw. So after that we need to calculate the dynamic strength of the weaker member by using this equation. Fs is equal to sigma d b y Mn, equation 12.26b, page 214. So for safe design, Fs must be greater than F effective. So we need to find out factor of safety. FOS is equal to Fs divided by F effective. The factor of safety is greater than 1, design is satisfactory. If the design is not satisfactory, increase the module and check once again. Step 4. If the design is satisfactory, calculate all the important dimensions such as face width, pitch circle diameter of pinion and gear, and all other important geometric parameters like addendum, dedendum, etc. from table 12.4a, page 230, based on the pressure angle. Step 5. Calculate dynamic load FD. Dynamic load FD using Buckingham equation 12.26a in page 214. This is the equation. FD is equal to Ft plus K3V into C into B cos square beta plus Ft into cos beta divided by K3V plus square root of C into B cos square beta plus Ft. So here in this case they have introduced this term cos square beta and cos beta. So as usual K3 is equal to 20.67 in SI units. This one we need to use. C is the dynamic factor. From table 12.12 we can now obtain a dynamic factor based on materials, combination of materials, and also based on the error E, small e. Error small e can be obtained from table 12.13 or table 12.14. These two graphs corresponding to these tables. This table and this graph matches, and this graph and this table matches. So here based on the module and class of gears you can obtain error. Here based on the velocity you can obtain the error. So this is also based on the velocity, that is pitch line velocity, you can obtain the error. So here based on the module and the type class of gears, so you can obtain the error. Next, step 6. Calculate the wear load FW. Calculate the wear load or the limiting load for wear using equation 12.26 in page 214. This is equation. The limiting load for wear FW is equal to D1 BQK by cos square beta, which must be greater than or equal to FD. So for spur gears only D1 BQK is there, but for helical gears, so we need to divide by D1 BQK by cos square beta. K is the low stress factor, is equal to sigma A square sin alpha by 1.40 into 1 divided by E1 plus 1 divided by E2. So E1 and E2 are the moduli of elasticity for pinion and gear materials respectively. Q is equal to 2d2 by d2 plus d1, that's equal to 2 z2 by z2 plus z1. So here there is a mistake. This is d1. Okay, Q is equal to 2d2 by d2 plus d1. d2 plus d1, that's equal to z2 by z2 plus z1, called ratio factor. So in order to find out BHN, so we need to refer to table 12.16 or table 12.17. By also you can find out K values here. This K. So you know that for the safe design, FW must be greater than or equal to FD. So if we don't know the K value, then we need to equate FW to FD. So knowing all these D1, B and Q, so we can find out a K value. So after knowing the K value, by referring to this table, based on the pressure angle 14.5 degree and 20 degree, so we can arrive at the required surface hardness, that is BHN, Brinell's hardness number. Step 7. Compare dynamic load FW with that of wear load FW. For safe design, FW must be greater than or equal to FD. If FW is less than FD, try any of the following. Increase the surface hardness, that is increase BHN, Brinell hardness number. By knowing the value of K, load stress factor, the required BHN can be obtained from table 12.16, this one, and table 12.17 is this. Increase the face width B or reduce tooth error to reduce FD. Thank you.